Metroid fans to the channel. This is going to be an awesome update video on Metroid Prime 4, and we're going to have a very interesting take on these Metroid Prime Trilogy / Metroid Prime Remaster rumors going around that you don't want to miss. So definitely, if you enjoy this video and discussion, please hit the like button and subscribe for more, because we have a lot more to discuss with Metroid Prime as we go forward. We are currently playing through Metroid Prime 1 on my live channel, so if you haven't subscribed to the live channel, I suggest you go ahead and do so. And I am running a giveaway there for a $50 Amazon gift card. When we reach 1,000 subscribers, I'm giving away two $50 Amazon gift cards to one of the subscribers on my live channel, and we're only about 395 away from hitting that 1,000 mark. We've got a lot of subscribers recently, and on that live channel we talk a lot about Nintendo Directs, Metroid Prime when it's going to be revealed, like Metroid Prime Trilogy, Metroid Prime 4, which I'll be sharing a clip of in just a moment, because we discussed some information here about these new rumors and Nintendo Directs and Metroid Prime 4 all in conjunction. So stay tuned for that. So first of all, before we get into Metroid Prime 4, let's talk about these Metroid Prime rumors of a remaster or a Metroid Prime Trilogy. And the latest rumor that has gone around, of course, is Metroid Prime 1 being remastered and then followed up by the release of Metroid Prime 2 and Metroid Prime 3. Now, this is something that I have considered quite a bit and thought about. And the reason is because Metroid Prime 2 and 3 did not sell anywhere near as good as Metroid Prime 1. In fact, Metroid Prime 2 only sold just over 800,000 copies, not even 1 million, and Metroid Prime 3 sold around 1.5 million. The biggest selling Metroid Prime game, of course, was Metroid Prime 1, selling over 2.8 million on the GameCube. So my concern would be if Nintendo releases all three games yet again separately and doesn't offer them in a one single package like it did on the Wii and Wii U for $19.99. In fact, if they don't do that, I fear for Metroid Prime 2 especially, because that is a game that gets left out a lot and actually disliked quite a bit by people who play the Metroid Prime series as being the least accessible game. So my only concern with releasing Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3 separately, even though Nintendo's looking for the biggest and most value for their dollar, not necessarily yours, they want to get the most money out of the consumer, of course, but in regards to selling the most copies, I do think Metroid Prime 2 would be the odd one out yet again, and people would go for Metroid Prime 1 the most, and then Metroid Prime 3, and then Metroid Prime 2 probably the least. So that is my only concern for Nintendo doing that people would miss out on Metroid Prime 2. It is a fantastic game. The second best behind Metroid Prime 1 as the best game of the trilogy in my opinion, just a hair not as good as Metroid Prime 1. And there's various reasons for that. We can discuss that another time. However, at the very least, I do hope they eventually have some kind of bundle where they have all three of the games together so people don't miss out on Metroid Prime 2. I really think Metroid Prime 2 is, quite frankly, underrated by a lot of outlets out there and a lot of people who have written off that game quite a long time ago. I do think the game could use some reworking on some of the aspects, of course, which they may do in this remaster, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Metroid Prime 2 specifically. But getting back to the rumor of Metroid Prime Trilogy 1, 2, and 3, of course, being released on the Nintendo Switch, this is not anything new, this rumor. In fact, I wouldn't even consider the rumor of the trilogy releasing on the Switch being anything substantial necessarily in the first place. And why do I say that? Well, if you've been following my channel and Rob Rule 2 Reviews channel since 2017 at the very least, the rumor of Metroid Prime 4 in fact came from this channel about the game being revealed at E3 2017, and of course Nintendo did announce Metroid Prime 4 then, and then after they announced Metroid Prime 4, the discussion of Metroid Prime Trilogy then ensued right after that. And who did that? Well, that was Rob Rule 2 Review. He talked about, basically first on his channel that I could recall, of a Metroid Prime Trilogy HD remaster coming out on the Switch after they announced Metroid Prime 4. In fact, he did this back in July of 2017, way before any rumors of any quote-unquote insiders talked about a Metroid Prime Trilogy coming to the Switch. He was talking about it there. Take a look.
I love to show this off on any video whenever I have a reason to do it, because this is very rare and I'm super proud of it. Day one purchase, obviously. I don't know who in their right mind wouldn't have picked this up. Anyway, that was released on the Wii, so of course or I'm sorry, on the Wii U. And then, of course, when the Switch came out, a lot of people said, well, bring that over. That'd be a perfect game for a virtual console game or what have you. Now that we live in a world where we know we're getting 2 new Metroid games, one of them is a sequel to this trilogy, as weird as that is, it is the next in line of this story. Well, now is a perfect time to bring over the trilogy. A lot of people think maybe even remaster it. Does it make sense to do so is the real question. And beyond that question, would Nintendo ever do it? So my opinion to this question is no surprise. It's not going to rock your world or surprise anyone. I think that yes, it absolutely makes sense for Nintendo to do it.
So you have to give credit where credit is due, and not necessarily for anyone rumoring Metroid Prime Trilogy coming to Switch. It's more so the fact that it was the inevitable conclusion after they announced Metroid Prime 4. It's plain as day and obvious that they would announce and release a Metroid Prime Trilogy, at least in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts on that. The rumor is that Nintendo's going to announce it very soon to be released in time for their 20th anniversary of Metroid Prime, which of course would make sense, and that would be in the mid-November time range of this year. And then of course followed up with Metroid Prime 2 and 3 soon after that, leading up to the release of Metroid Prime 4. And in the months leading up to June of 2022, many people assumed that there was going to be an E3 Direct or some kind of big Direct that Nintendo was going to have in June, which of course they didn't have. However, yet again, if you were following my live channel, you would have seen very clearly what my thoughts were way back in April of this year about what Nintendo's plans are going to be in regards to Metroid Prime Trilogy or Metroid Prime 1 Remaster leading up to the reveal of Metroid Prime 4. Take a look at this from April 30th to June 11th. What I have been saying continually is I don't think we'll see anything until we see what I'm playing right now, which is Metroid Prime Trilogy. That would keep me extremely happy as a Metroid fan, and I do think that is coming very soon. It's, what is it, April 30th today? So yeah, it's April 30th, so it's still at that time of the year where they're not going to say anything, unfortunately, about their plans towards the fall, towards late summer, September. Then we'll have a really clear idea of everything they're doing for the rest of this year and for 2023 a little bit. Especially for a Metroid Prime Trilogy, I think they would show that close-ish to when it's going to be released. So I think that Metroid Prime news will, when it does come, it'll be a lot all at once. It seems like there's nothing, and then a lot all at once. That's just how they do it. Yeah, the one to look out for, in my opinion, would be the one in September. That would be the one to look out for, I think. I don't think, granted, you would say like, whoa, well, usually they have big stuff in June for their June E3 Directs, but E3 is not this year. So I'm just preparing you guys for keeping your expectations in check. You know, we will have to wait and see, but I really think the big Nintendo Directs to look for is they're going to be the one in the fall, not necessarily the one right now, just because they're going to be promoting Splatoon 3 and Xenoblade right now. So yet again, there's another reason for you to subscribe to my live channel, because lots of discussion goes on there, like I said. However, like was brought out there, we've been talking about this kind of thing for months now, that I didn't really expect anything to happen up until later in the fall anyway for Nintendo for a big Direct, and that would also include announcing a Metroid Prime Remaster, a Metroid Prime Trilogy Remaster to be revealed, and a teaser for Metroid Prime 4. That's when I think that will happen, and that's what I've been saying for the past few months. And that's still my current stance to this day. That hasn't changed whatsoever. So I do think we will see quite possibly Metroid Prime Remastered, Metroid Prime Trilogy, whatever it's going to be, revealed around the fall Direct time period after they release Splatoon 3, to go along with hopefully a teaser for Metroid Prime 4. That's something to be very excited about, and I do think we're going to get at least one of those, which is going to be really cool to see. Now, moving on to Metroid Prime 4, and the big update that we have for this video on that game is that we finally have a close eye look of what Sylux, confirmed Sylux, is going to possibly look like for Metroid Prime 4, or a variation of him, because it was revealed recently from Metroid Prime Federation Force in the ending of that game. A user on Wikitroid by the name of Bearborg experimented with the in-game cameras of Federation Force on the ending of that game for the secret cutscene, and he was able to fully reveal the front and back of the character model that Sylux was using in the ending of that game. They do appear to be a male in appearance from the way the suit looks, and I want to make this clear that this is not the exact same type of suit that the other characters are wearing in Federation Force. It does look different. The shoulders look different and the helmet looks slightly different as well. It's not an exact replica of the same suits that the other characters are using in the game or the other Federation officers as well. Now, the interesting thing about this is that, yes, even though the design of this has the big head look, I did do a modification myself. I changed the size of the head of the character and the body to look more realistic, to be quite possibly what the shape would look like in Metroid Prime 4 for Sylux. And it does look a little bit similar to the alternate photo that was posted by Retro Studios on ArtStation for a job posting for Metroid Prime 4. The body of the character that they posted does not look exactly like Samus. The suit is different, the shoulders are different, the head is different, and I know that a lot of people assume that maybe this was Dark Samus in that previous video we did back in March covering this. However, since it's confirmed that this is Sylux in Metroid Prime Federation Force, and Metroid Prime Federation Force takes place directly after Metroid Prime 3, which would most likely be the in-between time frame between Metroid Prime 3 and Metroid Prime 4, it would make sense that this is actually Sylux, not only in this picture, of course, that we're going over, but also there's a very big chance that this is actually Sylux or a variation of him in that picture that Retro Studios posted. Even though we can't tell very well, it's very blurry, but here in Federation Force, we can tell very clearly that Sylux is wearing a suit that looks kind of similar to Samus, yet it's still a little bit different. And if you look at the design of the Federation officers from Metroid Prime 3, they have a kind of similar tone in their design as well to what Sylux is wearing. And then of course Sylux has a little bit similarities to what Samus is wearing as well. So it does make sense in Metroid Prime 4 that Sylux would adopt something that looks a little bit similar to Samus, especially if he is trying to gain similar power to Samus. With him stealing that Metroid and bring it to life, no doubt he wants to gain similar powers as Samus, possibly constructing even a similar suit to Samus, harnessing the power. And because a lot of Samus's power and strength and protection of the elements comes from that suit that she wears. So something like that could be very attractive to someone like Sylux, who obviously has some kind of vendetta or evil plan against Samus and has been searching and tailing Samus ever since the events in Metroid Prime Hunters on the DS, which took place right before the events of Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. So this is something we gotta watch very closely here coming up with any information regarding Metroid Prime 4. How much will Sylux play a role? And will he look similar to this Metroid Prime Federation Force style, or is that actually Sylux in that photo that was posted by Retro Studios in that job posting on ArtStation? Because it does have some similarities, like we said. He might even be a human. We just don't know actually who he is just yet or his identity. But it was brought out by the producers that Sylux's identity is known. There's a full backstory, and I can't wait to see exactly what that is and the connection to Samus. And hopefully this develops in a big way in Metroid Prime 4 as Sylux being the main villain, with that story progressing quite possibly through a new trilogy of games. I've talked about this in the past. There might just be a brand new trilogy, Metroid Prime 4, Metroid Prime 5, and Metroid Prime 6, with Sylux in them. Because remember, a lot of these games take place within a day or two. The Metroid Prime saga could last basically for as many games as they want. These games don't necessarily have to take place over years and years and years time. They could all take place over a few months time, with each game taking place between a few days or a few weeks even. So it's very exciting to think about, and I can't wait to see more information on Metroid Prime 4. I'm sure you guys are really excited too. And anything that we find going forward, of course, I'm going to be posting it here, and we'll be talking about it in depth and much more in depth on my live streams like we talked about before. Definitely subscribe to that live channel for more in-depth conversation that we can talk about for hours on end, because we play these games, Metroid Prime Trilogy, for example, on my live channel for hours at a time, at least 2.5 to 3 hours every Saturday. We've been playing Metroid Prime. So if you want to get more in-depth discussion, definitely join up in the chat. on my live channel, and I'll be happy to talk to you about it a lot there. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. If you're excited about this info, please hit the like button, subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you very soon in the next video. Have a great day.